least enlighten that. How did you come up with that? Why did you choose that as a title?
Okay, first of all, I want to thank you all for taking time off your schedules to come and celebrate this day with me. It's really been an honor, and it's really amazing seeing all of you here. So, Precious, I was with her at Chesia in 2011 and 2012. There's a chapter of it in the book. It was a barrack. We learned it from a barrack, and some people claim to have seen bullet casings. We don't know how true it is, so she has been my friend for all these years. So, to answer your question, the second part, the girl who dared to dream, I think it's dreaming is really an action that demands you to be daring. I think one thing that I've learned consistently is that the world is not going to let you pass. People aren't going to open doors for you. You will meet people who claim to be nice. You will meet people who claim to offer you opportunities. You will meet people who promise you heaven on earth, and most of the times they will let you down. What that means is you have to let yourself do that. So for me, I chose that title because dreaming wasn't something that came naturally. I consistently had to dare to dream. I had to make a cautious decision to decide that I'm going to go after this thing. So I chose it deliberately because being a girl, like Arthur saying, is not easy, and being a girl who grew up in Gobe wasn't easy at all. I had absolutely amazing parents and absolutely amazing family and amazing support, but the environment that you grew up in, you were friends with someone and then next time they wouldn't come to school, they got married. You knew someone from next door, they didn't finish school, they got married. My friends from primary school, they got married. The environment didn't allow you to see beyond that. You didn't know how to want to be anything else other than being a teacher, other than being a nurse, other than being a farmer, because those were the options that you had. Those are amazing jobs, but you need to have the option to have more. And I did have that option. So when I saw myself in Oxford and I was looking at my life and seeing the grace of God, I realized that I had honestly dared to dream. Every single step that I've taken has been a dare. Even applying to Oxford, one of my friends that I wanted to apply with, she never did. She felt defeated. She couldn't even do it. And I still did it. And so every single step has always been a dare. I'm quite a daring person.
I know. Okay, so you mentioned something about friends pretending to be nice, and at the end of the day, they let you down. And in the book, there is a chapter about perception and reality. There is also something like friends do make you or break you. Can you enlighten that? Because I understand there are some people here who are being affected by that and they don't know how to handle it. And sometimes they rely on people. At the end of the day, those people, they let them down, and sometimes they just fail to understand the reality. They only feel the perception side, but the reality, they fail to handle that. So can you at least enlighten that so that it can help other people?
That's a lot of questions. Okay, yeah. So, the first one, the perception of reality, perception versus reality. So, let me tell you the story behind that chapter. So in September 2019, I got to Oxford, and I was the only black student in my college. The only other black students that I met were black students who had grown up in the US or in the UK or in the Netherlands. So they were blacks who never really stayed in Africa. And those who had grown up in Africa, when they got to Oxford, they stopped being the people they were in Africa. They became these people who would show people pictures of hotels and claim that this is where we stay, who would claim to be who they are not, who would claim that my father is a primary and stuff like that. So when I got there, I was consistently asked, how did you get into Oxford? How did you become this person? What does your father do? Who are you in Africa? So that was a very good opportunity for me to learn. it was a very good opportunity for me to create a persona. I could have made my dad a prime minister. I could have said my father is a prime minister in Zimbabwe for all I care. I could have made him a minister. I could have made him a king in Africa, because the environment was right for me to create a persona, because everyone was doing it. So I had a choice to make. Was I going to buy into the perception of who they thought I was, this mysterious girl from Africa? Or alternatively, I was supposed to tell the story of that girl on the cover. Because there are millions like her who do not know what life looks like beyond what they have. So for me, it was really a struggle. Who do I become? What story do I tell? Am I going to pretend to be this person? Or am I going to be honest about where I'm coming from? That's a battle that most of us suffer with. Even when I was abused, there are people that when they are at home, they go to the apostolic faith church, but when they go to use them, they will take off their white clothes, put them under the bed, wear ripped jeans, because that kind of environment makes it very easy for you to create a persona and become this person, because we are afraid of facing who we truly are, because we don't think that person is interesting enough. And for me, one interesting thing that I talk about in the book is, the moment you say my name is Petronella Mnenjo, the next question is Mnenjo Mavaz. That's the next question. And when people say that, they are automatically associating you with a particular level of affluence. They are associating you with success, with what. So when I was young, I took the opportunity to say, yeah. Because I thought it was going to make me cool, it was going to make me... But then as I grew old, I realized that was very dishonest. I was buying into this person that they had made me to be, because I was afraid of being this girl that I was, because I felt I wasn't good enough. So it's that constant struggle of being true to who I am in situations where I can easily be a lie that made me talk about that chapter. And the second one is friends. Friends make you or break you. And I have a story to tell you. My mom, when I was in grade 6, I was playing with this girl. I talk about it in the book. She taught me how to sneak into her mom's bedroom and get some sweets. She taught me how to sneak into the classrooms when people had stopped going to school and take chalks and stuff like that. My mom was at school, she came back, she beat me thoroughly, and she told me, I don't want to see you playing with this girl ever again. I didn't understand, I hated her for it. Fast forward years later, I went back, I saw that girl, I cried. Because I saw myself in her, and I was also grateful to what my mom did. So the people that you choose to surround yourself with really, really, really determine where you end up. Because there is this constant need to want to become. When I was abused in my first year, I met this group of girls that I thought were cool. They invited me to go to a live show, I still remember. I went, I was very uncomfortable. By 9 o'clock, I kept saying, I want to go to the hostel. They called me boring, they called me all sorts of things. But I realized that this is not me. So I had gone, I knew I didn't want to go, but because I wanted to fit in. And if I had continued with those friends, maybe I would be telling a different story from the one that I'm telling now. So I think it's those two things. So what I would say is, be truthful to who you are. Own your background. Own everything that happened to you. Own your story. Own everything that makes you you. It gives you a better fighting chance in the world. And the second one is, pay attention to who you call your friend. Pay attention to who you give access in your life, because those people affect the story that you ultimately tell.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy that you got the word. Be confident, be yourself, you will go a long way. I'm going to be myself from now, and I'm seeing myself already in Oxford. Maybe one last question from me, Petri. When I first met you, you're so confident and you're still. And you know high school stories, we used to talk about what we want to do when we grow up. And you never mentioned about writing a book, you never mentioned about going to Oxford. Is this thing that we are here for something that you have really dreamt of growing up, or there was a twist somehow? And I just need you to share that twist, because there's someone here who is saying, probably I want to be a lawyer, and when that person doesn't become a lawyer, he or she will feel defeated. So can you at least enlighten the twist so that someone can feel motivated, someone can feel that if things didn't go my way, it doesn't mean that's the end of the road. Can you at least enlighten that?
I promise you I didn't tell her this, but if you ask my mom and my dad, one thing that I've always wanted to be, I've always wanted to be a lawyer. And my dad and everyone at home, they used to call me Advocate P. I wanted to be a lawyer so bad that when I finished A-level and I got the point that I got, which I'm not going to tell you, they couldn't let me do law at UZ. Don't worry. But they couldn't let me do law at UZ. But I was so adamant that I wanted to do law that Mom and Dad actually let me go to South Africa and apply. And I applied to do law at the University of Leeds. And I didn't have my A-level certificate. So there's this evaluation process that they call HESA, that they have to convert your Zim results to South African results. They couldn't do that without my certificate. So they only told me after applications for UZ had closed. So I was at home with my mom, my dad, being a temporary teacher in Gokwe. I couldn't go to South Africa because they hadn't evaluated me. So I literally didn't know what I wanted to do. I call it the gap years in the book. It was the darkest phase of my life because my sister, Patience, she's somewhere in there. She is a very brilliant person and she had done maths, biology and chemistry. She was at UZ studying to be a physiotherapist. My friends that I had been with in high school had now gone to university. They are talking about semesters and assignments and I was at home. I didn't know what they were talking about. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I wanted to be a lawyer, but now I couldn't. And I spent the whole of 2018 teaching. And in 2014, Mama, let me quote it verbatim. Wafana kwenda kuchikoro ungatororwa. So, so that's when in 2014, that's when I applied to UZ, but I applied late for some reason. And the program that I was offered was Bachelor of Arts. The abbreviation is being around. Bachelor of Arts is BA. When I was at UZ, people called it being around. And there was this thing that so it was a degree. You couldn't say it. Do you know, if use it with that BA, they would go like, oh, okay. Do you know? And I remember one incident. I was staying with my mom's sister in Mount Pleasant, and this pastor was preaching. It was a time after graduation, and he stood up and he said, "Unotoona vanhu vachita party yekuti mwana graduate ane BA, kuti oraira mombe izvozvo." And I was doing sitting in the audience. I was so hurt. I went home and I cried myself to sleep, asking myself, I'm taking long explaining this because I think this is a very defining phase of my life. Where I started and where I ended up, it can only be the grace of God. So I did BA, I hated it. I did it. Then in my second year, I was given an honors. So it's a system whereby they choose people on merit and then they give them an honors. And then I went and I did my honors and then I did my master's. And then after I did my master's, when we finished, when I was deciding what I wanted to do, that's when I then applied and went to Oxford. So to answer your question is, my life was never a straight line. It was really, really, really never a straight line, but I think it's a good illustration of that story where Mambo Ahab violent, the hand of the Lord comes upon Elijah, Bakawana Elijah Ashuga. So the grace of God, what it does is it gives you the ability to overtake even Makakutangira. Vacho vakaenda kuma university vachindisiya kugoka. You understand? So I think it's so if there is anyone who feels discouraged or who feels good, they are not where they want to be. Life is not a straight path. You can always create your own path. Where I started, how I got to be where I am, what I've done in the past 6 years of my life, in a different life, I needed 15 years to do it, but I did it. So it's not always going to be black and white. And when it's not black and white, thank God for that grace. And one thing that I'll have to add is be careful advice that will not people, because I remember there was this one lecturer in news that would always told it, ngamboita BA, tinomubvisa manje. So sometimes I feel like this very strong message. When you're going through whatever you're going through, trust God for the process. To know to promise what we cannot deliver and to only leave you frustrated. So whatever you're going through, whatever phase your life is taking, be patient, trust God, and it may not make sense now, but ultimately the end of a thing is better than its beginning. That's Ecclesiastes.
Thank you, Petty. Yes, it can only be grace and trust the Lord and trust the process. So now I'm opening it up to the floor. You can ask Petty what you want to ask here, and I'm taking only a few questions because of time. So it's okay, those who want to start. You can just raise your hand. Okay, sorry about that. You can just raise your hand or come back. Whoever wants to ask Petty a question. Whether you want to ask why she wrote the book, why she chose Oxford, not Harvard. Just ask anything. Any question? So you guys are satisfied?
Thank you. Firstly, let me congratulate my daughter for the success story. My question is just a simple one. How have you taken this success story back to Kobe?
I feel like I had to stand for that one, and I couldn't see people on the side. So, how have I taken the success story back to Kobe?